Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show where politics and technology meet. I call it Politex. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this specially scheduled Thursday, well, it's always Thursday episode of TED Excellence. Yes, we're starting a couple hours early because a couple hours from now, the State of the Union will be taking place. And as a mild political observer, I'm very curious to watch it live. We're doing it live. And so consequently, I thought I'd start TEDx a little early this evening. So thank you for those of you who are joining me early. And for those of you that are joining me later on in the evening or in the future, good evening to you. But in that vein, I also thought it would be incumbent upon me, I'm using some meaningful words here, to find a TED Talk, an official TED Talk that dealt in some way with, well, politics. And lo and behold, have I got one for us tonight? I suppose. We'll find out together. But before we get there, who's joining me on the special State of the Union night of TED Excellence? Mike R., good evening. Noah Sencio, good evening. Keeverdam, good evening to you. And also thank you, Keeverdam, as always, for providing the links to our friends' GoFundMe's up at the top of the chat box. Moonshock, Natalie, Angela Ariaga, James Colley, and Rhonda. You guys take a look at those when you have the opportunity. Please consider donating if you're able, and if you're not, that's fine. But please consider as well sharing those out on social media. That'd be very much appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. Advocatus Diaboli, good evening. Matt Barnes, good evening. Who else is here? Attorney Eris, good evening. Did I already say hi to Mike R? I did say hi to Mike R. Haha, you don't get two. Only one per customer. Angelverse, good evening. Eric Grinstatter, good evening. Kiro Soldier, good evening. Who else is here? Orcole Di Stefano, good evening. John Trioxin, good evening. Attack Alpaca, good evening to you. Ostsan, good evening. Who else is here? Matthew James, good evening. Alan Thyler, thank you so much for the lovely, nervous, happy Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wow. Wow.
Ooh, that's a Sinatra Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it. And thank you, Derek LaRue. Holy cats. Thank you, Derek, so much. That's very generous of you for your amazing continued support and generosity. I really, really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a good evening and hope you enjoy the show. Unit 731, good evening. Who else is here? Pissed Off Shih Tzu, good evening. Resolute Germ, good evening. Let's See Mads, good evening. And I think that's everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good evening. All right, so tonight we have the eternal question, I suppose, how AI and democracy can fix each other. Because AI is broken, which is true in a lot of ways, and democracy is broken, as I'm continually told by the media. So, sure, let's hand our civil liberties over to a soulless, mindless, compassionlessness batch of code, I guess. I don't know. I guess we'll find out together. So as a reminder, tonight's bingo card is bingo card A as in apologia. Sure, why not? It's a good word. The bingo card was chosen from the poll posted on Twitter or X earlier today. If you'd like to join in each week on the poll to choose the bingo card for the night, you can follow me at scribe_light. Any other housekeeping things I need to mention before we begin? I don't think so. Oh, Shadowclaw, good evening. And Nathan Willie, good evening. But with all that being said, let's get this show on the road. This one's relatively short for a TEDx, just under 11 minutes. So let's find out together how AI and democracy can fix each other. Okay, and then remember, this is a TED Talk. This is an official TED Talk, not a TEDx. This is cream of the crop, top of the heap, number one in intellectual discourse.
Recently, I told someone my work is on democracy and technology.
Okay, we could call it democratology or technocracy. The mages are running away.
He turned to me and said, "Wow, I'm sorry."
Oh. Um. Okay.
But I love my work. I know that we can build a world where technological marvels are directed towards people's benefit using their input.
Yes, because we've never lived in such a world before, I guess. You know, the refrigerator, the electric oven, the microwave, planes, telephones, computers, X-ray machine. I mean, no, we've never lived in a world where technology has been developed for the betterment and making other people's life. Okay, yeah, let's imagine such a world.
We have gotten so used to seeing democracy as a problem to be solved.
What do you mean we?
But I see democracy as a solution,
Wow.
not as a problem.
Okay.
Democracy was once a radical political project, itself a cutting-edge social technology.
Compared to a lot of places in the world, it still is a radical, project. Well, it was a social political project. Yeah. I mean, compare it to places like, say, I don't know, North Korea or Saudi Arabia or Iran. I mean, it's pretty radical. Still is in a lot of places in the world.
A new way to answer the very question we are faced with now.
Oh, what's
in
that?
The era of artificial intelligence.
Okay, now bridge the gap. Artificial intelligence and democracy, and the question is...
How do we use our capabilities to live well together?
Has that been a question that's only now just arisen? What?
We are told that transformative technologies like AI are too complicated or too risky or too important to be governed democratically.
It might not be a matter of being governed democratically because they're owned proprietarily. That's the word I was looking for, I think. Okay. I'm going to go to the bingo card real quick just to remind ourselves what we are listening for. Remember, this is bingo card A. Collectivize his own demographic. Not yet. Systemic or institutional. Sort of, but I'm going to wait a little bit, see if she gets more specific. Sales pitch for product or service. Well, perhaps. We'll see. Childhood or family anecdote. Not yet. Diversity, equity, and or inclusion. Not yet. Plays victim. No. Microaggressions or unconscious bias. Privilege. Contradicts own point or argument. Not sure what it is yet. Patriarchy. Not yet. Weightless example. Economic disparity. We'll see. Feminism. No. Marginalized or marginalization. Not yet. A list. We'll see if there's a formal list in here. White supremacy. Word salad. I have a feeling we might get to word salad sooner rather than later. We'll see. Self-vilification or wretchedness. No. Argumentative non sequitur. We shall see. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. It's possible. Mind reading or assumes motives. Benevolent condescension. Anecdote that probably never happened. And lastly, leaves out vital context. Well, so far, I don't have any reason to circle any squares on the board yet, but we're only a minute in, so let's see where we go.
But this is precisely why they must be. If existing democracy is unequal to the task, our job is not to give up on it.
Okay, well, I know it's going to be a big ask here, but describe to me how democracy is broken. Right? If you're going to offer up AI as a solution to democracy, you have to describe in what way democracy has faltered that AI would then be able to address.
Our job is to evolve it.
Okay.
And to use technology as an asset to help us do so.
In what fashion?
Still, I understand his doubts.
His doubts?
I never meant to build my life around new forms of democracy.
What?
I started out just really believing in the power of science. I was modifying DNA in my...
Okay, wait. You were modifying Are you a mad scientist? This is getting more interesting. We'll find out.
I was modifying DNA in my kitchen at 12.
Okay.
And when I got to Stanford as a computational biology.
Whoa. What? Stanford? Oh, Lord. Why can't I just made a joke the other day about Stanford? No, not Stanford. Oh.
And when I got to Stanford as a computational biology major, I was converted to a new belief: technology.
Wait. You went to Stanford as a computational biology major, and you were converted to a new belief: technology. Computational biology. Okay.
I truly believed in the power of tech to change the world.
If you were modifying DNA in your kitchen at 12, I am not surprised, but it took you all the way getting to college before you understood this about yourself? Okay.
Maybe like many of you.
I don't know.
But I saw that the technologies that really made a difference were the ones that were built with and for the collective.
The collective. Oh, you mean like Kleenex? It was built for the collective. Like Q-tips, they were built for the collective. Okay, well, just because it's so on point, I'm going to circle collectivizes own demographic. Might be a little bit loosey-goosey with my definitions there, but hey, it's my show. So circling collectivizes own demographic and free space.
Not the billions of dollars pumped into the 19th addiction-fueling social app.
But social apps weren't designed for the collective? I mean, just because something's designed for the collective does not necessarily mean it's a inherently beneficial thing, right? But if everybody and their brother's using TikTok or Facebook or something else, it was designed for the collective. So why are you dissing on things technology produced that were designed for the collective? Should I already circle contradicts own point or argument?
App. But the projects that combine creating something truly new with building in ways for people to access, benefit from, and direct it.
Like TikTok. I mean, a lot of people have benefited from TikTok. For as insidious a program and data collection farm that it is, people have benefited from it. It was designed for the I'm not going to keep coming back to this, but yeah, I'm going to circle contradicts own point or argument. Unless you're going to put some kind of, moral metric on something produced by technology, quote unquote, for the collective, you can't say that it's good to have things built for the collective and then diss some app like TikTok, like Facebook, like Twitter, or anything else that lots and lots and lots of people use and have benefited from.
Instead of social media, think of the internet.
The internet is social media. I hate to tell you this. I really hate to tell you this, but everything that underpins the internet is social media. It's stuff built by people and shared amongst people, whether it be code or web pages or whatever else. It might not be social media in the olden days like it's defined now through immediate contact with individuals, but it was always social media.
Built with public resources on open standards.
Oh, you want to have an open access internet? Okay. And apps are built through open source stuff all the time. I'm confused.
This is what brought me to democracy.
This is what brought you to democracy? Okay, I don't know where our speaker grew up or whatever else, but I think more likely than not, you were in democracy before any of these thoughts occurred to you.
Technology expands what we are capable of.
More, it oversimplifies things and requires us to think less for ourselves. It really all depends on the context.
Democracy is how we decide what to do with that capability.
Democracy is a system of government, primarily. You're going to have to define your terms and give me some examples because I don't know what you mean right now.
Since then, I've worked on using democracy as a solution. In
What?
India, the US, the UK, Taiwan.
Uh-huh.
I've worked alongside incredible collaborators to use democracy to help solve COVID, to help solve data rights.
You solved COVID? What? You solved COVID. Data rights. What? Okay, I'm backing up slightly. I just want to make sure I get the full context of whatever it is she's saying right now. I'm on the urge of circling word salad.
I've worked alongside incredible collaborators.
Well, anyone you work alongside is a collaborator. I mean, that's just the definition of... Never mind.
To use democracy to help solve COVID, to help solve data rights, and, as I'll tell you today, to help solve AI governance.
Okay, so wait. You solved COVID, you solved data rights, and you want to solve AI governance. Okay, I'm not quite sure about the first two. I'm circling anecdote that probably never happened. Because it didn't. COVID was not solved with democracy. Data rights, as far as I know, have yet to be solved, and democracy is certainly not doing it. If you look at the UK and data rights over there, oh boy.
With policymakers around the world and cutting-edge technology companies like OpenAI and Anthropic.
Yeah, OpenAI is very trustworthy.
How? By recognizing that democracy is still in its infancy.
Democracy is still in its infancy. Someone in the chat who's a much better historian than I am. How long ago was Athenian democracy again? I would love to know how she arrives at that conclusion. Hopefully she'll tell us. Thank you, John Miller. Solved COVID by letting it run its course. No kidding. Especially now with the updated regulations or advice from the CDC, telling a whole lot of people what a lot of us already knew back in the olden days. I won't get too deep into it because who knows what YouTube will do to this stream, but moving on.
It is an early form of collective intelligence.
Democracy is an early form of collective intelligence. Okay.
A way to put together decentralized input from diverse sources and produce decisions that are better than the sum of their parts.
Not inherently. Democracy can lead to bad decisions. I don't know if you've noticed this. Even a perfect democracy can be swayed by passion and short-sighted thinking into making bad decisions. And democracy will have been working perfectly the entire time. You know, it's not until on reflection, perhaps, or after some passions have cooled, that people will see the error of their ways. And so hopefully democracy will then lead to better solutions over time. But it's not a perfect system. No governmental system is a perfect system. But, okay.
That's why, when my fantastic co-founder, Saffron Huang, and I...
Co-founder? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, do you have a company or a product that you're pitching here? Tell us what it is and I can circle a square.
When my fantastic co-founder, Saffron Huang, and I left our jobs at Google DeepMind and Microsoft.
You were at Google DeepMind and Microsoft. And what is your endeavor now?
To build new democratic governance models for transformative tech, I named our nonprofit the Collective Intelligence Project.
Circling sales pitch for product or service. The Collective Intelligence Project, sorry. So the Borg. Collective intelligence. Tell me about that diversity aspect again. The CIP. Ooh, are the employees that work there, are they called SIPpies?
As a nod to the ever-evolving project of building collective intelligence for collective flourishing.
Every time I hear collective, I get a little twinge at the back of my neck, and I was like, no. Who wants to be part of a collective willingly unless you're just giving up on individuality?
Since then, we've done just that, building new collective intelligence models to direct artificial intelligence.
Wow, sounds great. Want to give us an example?
To run democratic processes, and we've incorporated the voices of thousands of people into AI governance.
Oh, thousands of people into AI governance.
Here are a few of the things we've learned.
Oh boy, okay, examples. I love examples.
First,
yes,
people are willing and able to have difficult, complex conversations on nuanced topics.
Wow. That's what you've discovered about people. I'm shocked, I tell you.
When we asked people about the risks of AI they were most concerned about, they didn't reach for easy answers.
Okay, what's an example of an easy answer?
Out of more than 100 risks put forward, the top cited one, over-reliance on systems we don't understand.
Okay. Is that an easy answer? I don't understand.
We talked to people across the country, from a veteran in the Midwest to a young teacher in the South. People were excited about the possibilities of this technology. But there were specific things they wanted to understand about what models were capable of before seeing them deployed in the world.
Well, it sounds fairly wise, just the promise of something, but wanting to see some proof before we dive in. Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm more excited about AI working to solve things like cures for diseases, iterating through models and information at speeds that human beings just could not, and trying to figure out, what might be the right combination of this, that, or the other to cure cancer or AIDS or something. I'm more excited about that kind of stuff. I would love to see AI solve Alzheimer's disease, things like that, right? And doing testing and models and simulations that people would take, decades or hundreds of years to have to go through. I'd love to see that kind of stuff. It's when AI starts entering into the social realm, nay, the political realm, that I get a little worried. Because I've covered a subject like this before in a previous TEDx, where an individual was pitching an idea for a product that would effectively automate democracy. And what he was proposing was terrifying. And so I'm curious a few years on to see what a perhaps similar argument might be now that AI itself has become so prevalent from our speaker.
A lot more reasonable than many of the policy conversations that we're in.
In what way?
And importantly, we saw very little of the polarization we're always hearing about.
Well, because it's not a very polarizing topic yet, is it? It's still very mysterious. People don't understand the full implications of AI, generally speaking, but ask them about, guns, God, or what was the third one? Taxes. Anyway, they'll have an opinion. So I'm not surprised.
On average, just a few divisive statements for hundreds of consensus statements.
Divisive statements versus don't you want diversity? Don't you want debate? You're just looking for you're only marking consensus as a win? What? Sorry, I got to back up. I got to listen to that again. I apologize. Let's try to get the full context here.
Before seeing them deployed in the world.
Right.
A lot more reasonable than many of the policy conversations that we're in.
Right.
And importantly, we saw very little of the polarization we're always hearing about.
don't you need polarization in democracy, though? I mean, that's kind of the deal, isn't it? It's that it's always a bargaining game. It's supposed to be, ideally, a compromise. No one side gets everything that they want because no one side represents everybody. You have to meet in the middle. You find a happy medium where everybody gets something they want, but nobody gets everything that they want. This does not sound healthy to me.
On average, just a few divisive statements for hundreds of consensus statements. Even on the contentious issues of the day, like free speech or race and gender.
Is free speech a contentious issue? I suppose it is for those who would see it destroyed. And racism?
We saw far more agreement than disagreement.
In what way? What are you talking about? Agreement on what?
Almost 3/4 of people agree that AI should protect free speech.
Almost 3/4 of people think AI should protect free speech. Okay, well, whoever that remaining 1/4 is, they're not very American.
90% agree that AI should not be racist or sexist.
Well, you might want to tell that to Google Gemini. I guess it's a good thing you got out of Google when you had the opportunity, because, boy, they've proven themselves to not be within that 90% approval rate, huh?
Only around 50% think that AI should be funny, though. So there's still contentious issues out there.
AI should be funny? Like telling jokes, or like as the punchline to a joke? I don't understand. I suppose I never will.
These last statistics are from our collective constitution project with Anthropic.
Oh, okay. You finally cited your source for these statistics. Your collective constitution project. Sounds great. Let's see. Thank you, Keeverdam. If we'll come up here. Thank you. AI, DEI. It's true. DEIAI. DEIAI. That's what we need. DIA. DIA? DIA. Thank you, Keeverdam. Although you're right, that is kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Circling that one on the board. You have convinced me. I'm so focused on what she's saying, I'm not really paying attention to the card presently, but we'll see.
Where we retrained one of the world's most powerful language models on principles written by 1,000 representative Americans. Not AI developers or regulators or researchers at elite universities. We built on a way of training AI that relies on a written set of principles or a constitution.
Are these like Asimov's rules for robots? That kind of thing? Give us some of these rules. Give us the Bill of Rights of your collective constitution.
We asked ordinary people to co-write this constitution. We compared it to a model that researchers had come up with. When we started this project, I wasn't sure what to expect. Maybe the naysayers were right. AI is complicated.
AI is complicated.
Maybe people wouldn't understand what we were asking them.
I'm not sure what you're doing either, but, I'm just stupid, I suppose. I'm not artificially intelligent.
Maybe we'd end up with something awful.
It sounds like, okay, every time you use the word collective in anything you're talking about, it does sound like you're leading up to something awful.
But the people's model, trained on the co-written constitution, was just as capable and more fair than the model the researchers had come up with.
How do you figure that? Okay. At this point, you're going to have to provide us with active examples of what you mean. Because talking in abstracts, giving us statistics without any kind of reference or context doesn't help anything. What did the researchers model, and what was the result of your collective model? How do they compare? Why is one, quote unquote, fairer or more fair than the other one? This is the point in the persuasive essay where you have to show me the proverbial money.
People with little to no experience in AI did better than researchers.
How? Examples, proof, evidence, please.
Who work on this full time in building a fairer chatbot.
A fairer chatbot. Okay. Broken record. How? In what way? Compare and contrast. Evidence. You work in science, correct? You work in science and technology. Okay, what is the scientific process? All right, I need some evidence. I need some empirical evidence that what you're saying, at least from your perspective and studies, is true. At least from what you found. Okay, so now you'll present us with the evidence of what you are talking about, correct?
Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. As one of our participants from another process said,
What?
they may be experts in AI, but I have 8 grandchildren.
They may be experts in AI, but I have 8 grandchildren. It's true. They may know how to fly a helicopter, but I've eaten a lot of goldfish crackers.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If that's the first, and I hope it is not the only compare or contrast example you're going to give us of what you're talking about in looking at a model built by AI programmers and a model built by ordinary folks, we're in big trouble.
I know how to pick good values.
Oh, do you? 8 grandchildren commend someone to picking good values. If you say so. You know what? Argumentative non sequitur. Circling argumentative non sequitur on the board. And I'm getting very close to circling leaves out vital context if she does not describe these models to us, the professional and the pedestrian.
If technology expands what we are capable of.
Okay, circling leaves out vital context. She's obviously not going to tell us. Good gravy.
And democracy is how we decide what to do with that capability.
Sorry, I'm going to back up. I cut her off in the middle of her statement.
If technology expands what we are capable of.
If technology expands what we are capable of.
And democracy is how we decide what to do with that capability.
And democracy. Not necessarily democracy. Okay, I'm not gonna try to retread old ground right now.
Here is early evidence that democracy can do a good job deciding.
What evidence? What evidence? What 8 times grandma versus AI researcher? Is that your evidence?
Of course, these processes aren't enough.
I'm getting irritated. I'm getting real irritated. We're 7 minutes into an 11-minute presentation. And yet you have provided us absolutely no evidence of anything you are talking about. Statistics are not evidence of anything.
Of course, these processes aren't enough. Collective intelligence requires a broader reimagining of technology and democracy.
How?
That's why we're also working on co-ownership models for the data that AI is built on, which after all belongs to all of us.
Word salad, circling word salad. Oh man, I was hoping for something more substantive, irate bear, but I mean, this is a TED talk. Again, let me remind, this is not a TEDx talk. This is not a junior high school decided to put on a show and bring in some local speakers or something. This is a supposed top of the pops TED talk. Hey.
And using AI itself to create new and better decision-making processes.
Like what? Give me an example of a new and better decision-making process created by AI. Give me one. Either that you've done through your work or you've seen in the world. Okay, I mean, if you're going to pull from just anything out there in the world as an example, you can probably find one pretty easy. I bet there is something that AI has done in the last year or the last 10 minutes or something that probably ends up being a better or more efficient process for achieving something than a human could accomplish. Name one. Just give me one. I'll give you a freebie. It doesn't even have to be yours. Anything.
Taking advantage of the things that language models can do that humans can't. Like processing huge amounts of text input.
But computers could process huge amounts of text input for years. That's gotten... OCR. Optical character recognition, if I'm not forgetting my acronyms too much. Computers have been processing textual information for years and years. Why is that somehow amazing to you? What is AI, specifically language models, doing that's so unique? It shouldn't be that hard of a question to answer or an example to give. But saying processing through tons and tons of text, it's nothing new. You know what? If I open up a Word document from 2008 and I hit Control F and I look for the word party, it will be looking through and processing through tons and tons of text to find something.
Our work in Taiwan has been an incredible test bed.
How?
For all of this.
All of what?
Along with Minister Audrey Tong and the Ministry of Digital Affairs, we are working on processes to ask Taiwan's millions of citizens what they actually want to see as a future with AI.
Okay, I'll bite. How? How are you going about doing this?
And using that input not just to legislate.
No. How are you going about doing this? How are you seeking the opinions of millions of people on what to do with AI?
Millions of citizens what they actually want to see as a future with AI. And using that input not just to legislate, but to build. Because one thing that has already come out of these processes is that people are truly excited about a public option for AI.
So, a public option for AI. Not only using this input to legislate, so you're talking about what? A ballot initiative? Just putting it to a national vote? How is that AI doing anything? That's just basic mechanisms of democracy. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. Or more likely, our speaker is either withholding something or doesn't have anything to something in the first place.
One that is built on shared public data.
Wait, sorry.
Is that people are truly excited about a public option for AI. One that is built on shared public data.
What current AI chatbots are not built on shared public data? They're not drawing from public resources and databases to answer questions or interact with people? Where does ChatGPT get most of its information? Where is Google Gemini getting most of its information? Public sources. Now, how that data is then processed and represented to the user is a completely different thing, but the sources of data that they have available to them are public sources. Am I... Okay. I just... okay, you know what? Benevolent condescension. I feel like either our speaker thinks her audience knows absolutely nothing about nothing, or I don't even know what the other option is. Okay.
That is reliably safe.
Reliably safe? Like Google Gemini? Okay, how would you verify safety? How would you verify reliability? If I put a question or I ask for something from an AI, what kind of checks and balances would you suggest? And I know I'm asking rhetorically, but what kind of checks and balances would you suggest be implemented in order to give me, the user, some confidence that whatever I'm getting back from the AI is safe and reliable? Right? Because I'm putting my trust into this machine that what it's processing out is accurate. But we already know that that is a major pitfall of the entire idea of AI right now, thanks to Google Gemini. And I've experienced this myself. After the whole image generation thing went haywire with the whole racial stuff, because ultimately the biases and the ideology of the creators of the AI was hard-coded into the process. So no matter what I asked, even if it was a question that was completely absent of any political or sociological considerations, it was being put through a filter by the time it reached me as an answer that added words into my query that I did not put there because it was told to do so on the back end. Now, save for the fact that some very industrious people discovered this, I, as a normal user, would have no idea that I was being fed processed data outside of my desires. So I know I'm being completely rhetorical and off the path here, but I would love to know what our speakers' ideas are for ensuring that AI and the results it produces are safe and reliable. Aside from doing your own research through other data sources yourself manually and not trusting a machine programmed by an ideologue at Google.
That allows communities to access, benefit from, and adjust it to their needs.
Adjust it? How? In what way? We're not going to get any answers, are we? This is just giant list, pie-in-the-sky, pipe dream abstracts. You're not going to tell us anything we can sink our teeth into, are you?
This is what the world of technology could look like.
What? What is what the world of technology could look like? Aside from the world of technology we're already living in?
Steered by the many, for the many.
I just be broken recording myself.
I often find that we accept unnecessary trade-offs.
Boy, you ain't just whistling Dixie. I watch TED Talks every week. You're not kidding.
When it comes to transformative tech.
Okay.
We are told that we might need to sacrifice democracy for the sake of technological progress.
Who has said that? Quote someone, please. I'm sure someone has said it. Could you give me a bit more definition?
We have no choice but to concentrate power to keep ourselves safe from possible risks.
Is this an argument for censorship? Because it's starting to sound like one. Or is it an argument against censorship?
This is wrong.
Sorry, my necessary pause game sometimes causes more problems than it solves. I'll admit that. So let's start over again. Try that again.
Tech. We are told that we might need to sacrifice democracy for the sake of technological progress.
I would love to know who says that. I would love to know who says that and actually has a majority agreement behind that notion.
We have no choice but to concentrate power to keep ourselves safe from possible risks. This is wrong.
Concentrating power. So the entire idea of government, of legislative government, is wrong?
It is impossible to have any one of these things, progress, safety, or democratic participation, without the others.
Your safety is not guaranteed. I mean, safety in what context? Why am I asking? Why do I bother?
If we resign ourselves to only two of the three,
what?
We will end up with either centralized control or chaos.
What?
Either a few people get to decide, or no one does.
Okay. Again, I don't know where our speaker is originating from. In fact, I'm not even sure I know where this talk is taking place. But America, at least, is a representative republic. We entrust the power to make decisions in representatives. So what are you suggesting except techno-communism? I guess maybe that is what she's suggesting. I don't know.
These are both terrible outcomes, and our work shows that there is another way.
How? What has your work shown? Okay, you've got 2 minutes left. Give me something, please.
Each of our projects advanced progress, safety, and democratic participation.
How?
By building cutting-edge democratic AI models.
How?
By using public expertise as a way to understand diffuse risks.
How?
And by imagining co-ownership models for the digital commons.
What? Hell.
What?
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Right?
Need I say more?
We are so far from the best collective intelligence systems we could have.
I believe you.
If we started over on building a decision-making process for the world, what would we choose?
A decision-making process for the world? I don't know. What would we choose?
Maybe we'd be better at separating financial power from political power.
Good luck.
Maybe we'd create thousands of new models of corporations or bureaucracies.
Sure, we could go all neuromancer on it.
Maybe we'd build in the voices of natural elements or future generations.
Build in the voices of natural elements? What?
Here's a secret.
Oh, well, it's about to not become one, isn't it?
In some ways, we are always starting from scratch.
Ugh. Are you a life coach as well, by any chance?
New technologies usher in new paradigms that can come with new collective intelligence systems.
Could, can, maybe, shoulda, coulda, woulda, You know, I don't know that there's any new questions to be asked when new technologies come around. They just change a little bit. You know, there was a whole bunch of philosophical debate when the telephone first came into existence, and the radio, and then television, and then the internet, and then biotech, and on, cloning. I mean, they're all interesting moral, philosophical, ethical questions, but to me, it's just, you know, a continuous same dance, different tune kind of deal.
We can create new ways of living well together.
You're right. We can. And we have been, in some ways, procedurally over the years, decades, and centuries. You're right. It's got nothing to do with AI.
If we use these brief openings for change.
In what way? What would you do? What needs to be changed? What about democracy explicitly is so broken that AI is going to solve it? What are you talking about?
The story of technology and democracy is far from over.
The story of Dune is far from over.
Doesn't have to be this way.
Wait. The story of technology and democracy is far from over. It doesn't have to be this way. So you want the story of technology and democracy to be over? Did I get that?
Things could be unimaginably better.
They could be, sure. AI is going to make things better?
As the Indian author Arundhati Roy once said, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. I can hear our new world breathing.
Oh, can you? Would you like to take a moment to describe to us what that new world is meant to look like? at this point, I'll take even an idealized version of what it is that you think AI plus democracy is going to lead us to.
One in which we shift the systems we have towards using the solution of democracy to build the worlds we want to see. The future is up to us.
Oh, Lord, you don't say.
We have a world to win.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That was a whole lot of nothing going on. Okay. I always come into these things, especially a TED Talk, with a little bit higher hopes than I have for a TEDx talk. Like I said, you'd think that a TED Talk, standards-wise, hoops to jump through to end up on a stage would have a little bit higher bar. Just a little bit. And I know at this point in time in the history of TED and TEDx, I shouldn't be shocked by this, but still. We have somebody who purportedly has been working with bioscience and AI models and deep info and everything else. Google, Microsoft now runs a collective AI project thing. Did we hear anything that told us anything about anything that she anythings and the anything of her company? At all? No, nothing. And we're hearing what I can only presume is someone with a science degree of some kind. And I didn't hear anything scientific anywhere in there. Anyway, Fun Time Bats, thank you so much. For today was a different time. Love this topic of discussion. Is there a discussion to be had? Did she give us anything to discuss? Thank you, Fun Time Bats. But seriously, I was waiting for something interesting to be said, something profound, some idea or some evidence, or here's the results of our project in creating XYZ, and I got nothing. But either way, this is what the card looks like right now. I'm going to go over it one more time by myself. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them. I will get to you presently. Systemic or institutional, I think that's unavoidable. Systems, politics, either systems technological or systems sociological. I think that's pretty good. Childhood or family anecdote. Yep, she was manipulating DNA in her kitchen when she was 12. So that's certainly a childhood or family anecdote. And consequently,
Bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course, of course.
so there we go. Our first bingo. Let's keep going. Plays victim. No, she never got to, aside from the story about her in her kitchen at 12, she never really, as far as I can tell, I mean, maybe there's an argument in there somewhere. Microaggression or unconscious bias. Yes. When she talked about how 90% of their people said AI should not be racist, or I don't know if she said sexist, but certainly not racist. So by extension, we're talking about unconscious bias. Privilege. I don't know that privilege came up. Well, no, she talked about somewhere in there. She talked about elites, like this was a model not created by academic elites and things like that. Does that count? I don't know if that counts. Somebody will have to tell me if that counts. But before I move on, thank you, Fostonia, for the happy Kabuki Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
Well, that is a Roan Harushan Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Fostonia. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the show. Okay, moving on. Patriarchy. Now, she didn't bring up the gender wars in any particular way. Weightless example. I already used the grandma with the 8 grandkids as the argumentative non sequitur. So weightless example. Well, actually, she kept saying things like, for example, and then she never told us anything. So I think that kind of counts in a collective fashion, if you'll forgive me. Economic disparity. Not that I recall. I mean, she talked about sort of like sociological disparity between the academic elites and the common folk she was getting information from, but I don't know that counts as economic disparity. Feminism, no. Marginalization. You know what? I would say that given the demographics that she was aiming for in her project, she was looking for the common folk. people whose voices aren't heard in AI and everything. I think that kind of counts as a marginalization point. I'm going to argue that. And by the way, I should remind, if I circle a square that you disagree with and have an argument against a square being circled, that is also a valid comment to make when we get to your time. So just, if you think I've overreached in some way, by all means, let me know. A list. She did give us a list, several lists over the time about what could be solved and how things operated and so on. So she gave us several examples that could count as a list. White supremacy. No. And here's the reason why. Even though she brought up AI should not be racist, being racist is not the exclusive domain of white people, as we had to learn again on Twitter over the last day or so through a Kotaku article where a brilliant editor told us something that I hadn't heard too much of since like 2015, 2016, that, hey, just so you know, you can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in. It was great. We're having, if you don't know, and for those of you not plugged in, we're having Gamergate 2.0 right now. It's actually kind of fun to watch. It brings back a lot of memories. Anyway, moving on. Self-vilification or wretchedness? No. Attempt to coin new buzz phrase. Yeah, collective intelligence. She kept pushing collective intelligence as her own thing. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a new idea, but she was trying to brand it in a way that was unique to her and her project, I suppose. And lastly, mind reading or assumes motives. Yeah, the whole consensus versus dissent, what people want, relying on AI, and so on. Yeah, I just a little bit too much, just nanny state kind of thinking and proposals. It felt like in a lot of places, and so as a consequence of
Bingo. What?
Of course!
All right, so we have 2 bingos. We have the possibility for more. If you have an argument for squares to be circled, put them in the chat now. Be sure to tag me in your comment if you are able to. That would make it a little bit easier for me to see. Scrolling up a bit to see if I missed anything. Let's see. All right, moving. Let's see. Young geezer. They want something to fix shit they broke. It will only make it worse. Like I said, there are areas of the world and science that I think AI would be great for. Again, solving disease models, predicting weather patterns, very enhancing things that we would have to do manually in the scientific realm insofar as research and simulations that may be very beneficial all on their own. Then there are things where we start becoming dependent on them to replace personal initiative, personal innovation, intuition, and rely too much on the accuracy of information coming from something provided by somebody else. It's sort of like believing everything MSNBC says or believing everything that Fox News says without question. All right. Now, those aren't AI models, but they are delivery mechanisms for information that you can either take at face value or you can be skeptical of. If we come to rely on AI as a total truth teller, that becomes a problem very quickly. Let's see. Your second WTF came at the end of the list. Oh, yeah, I circled the list. Okay, we got that covered. Any more arguments for squares to be circled? Maybe I got them all. I don't know. Let's see. Nothing democratic in any case. Yeah, not very democratic. I didn't hear anything about enhancing democracy in there. I heard lots of things indicating winnowing away dissent or argument. Like consensus is great. We got so much more consensus than we did dissent. Is that a good thing? Consensus on what? Leaves out vital context, etc. Any other squares to be circled, guys? I suppose I might have. It is right now kind of an interesting pattern on the card. It's sort of very symmetrical. If we ended it here, it'd be a nice little, sort of accidental art project. But otherwise, anything else? I don't see any. Okay, either the chat or the stream has died, or nobody has anything else to say. I'm supposing it's probably the latter, because I ran out of steam already, I suppose. Any life in the chat? Anybody want to say something? Let me know that, yeah, not much to say. All right. Well, que sera. It's also probably the fact that since I'm starting early tonight, a lot of other people are watching other and better streams, because some other streams start at this time. And I don't mean to step on their toes, but it's all about getting ready for the State of the Union. I'm looking forward to the State of the Union. Let's see. Mark Smart says, plays victim. How? In what way was she playing a victim, Mark Smart? Assassin the Gray, Scribelight, do not ask me. The last episode gave me a splitting headache into the next day. Yeah, I apologize. Frosted Glass, can you check Twitter DMs after the stream? Well, maybe you should check Twitter DMs from a couple hours ago. Unless Twitter just didn't deliver my message. So, neener. Let's see. Simon Wilkins, you mean Midnight's Edge? Yeah, I felt, I was like, oh, I'm going to be stepping on, well, I'm not stepping on Midnight's Edge's toes, but I know that a lot of people on here watch Midnight's Edge and they do their show every Thursday at 4. So I was like, I might lose some audience to Midnight's Edge, but like I say, I want to make sure I get everything squared away before the State of the Union. I don't know that I'm going to be on any watch parties for State of the Union. I might. It's possible, but we'll see. Matthew James, she said a lot of nothing. That is also true. There's not a lot to dig our teeth into here because she didn't really tell us much of anything. And Mark Smart says, I was just moving chat. Right. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate it. Let's see. Tony Giff, is there a stream on the State of the Union that includes scribbles? I don't know yet. Maybe I'll gate crash Sinatra's watch party, or maybe Monkey's going to do something. I don't know yet. We'll find out. I'll let you know on Twitter or X. Follow me on Twitter, X, at @scribe_light. Programming note, Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern will be the Sunday stream, where I'll talk about a thing. It might be the results of the State of the Union, I suppose. And then tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, I'll be over on Frosted Glass's channel for The Corner, where we'll talk about a series of terrible Medium articles, I'm sure, or something like that. So check that out then. And then I actually don't know if there's going to be a Midnight's Edge After Dark stream this Sunday. Or if there is, it might just be another random stream. I'm not quite sure what Tom is doing with that time slot, because the top 5 list thing is kind of waning right now. I guess we'll find out on Sunday, but keep a watch on my Twitter for that, and I'll let you know. Also, if you'd like to join the Discord, well, there's a Discord link that's going to be in the chat right now. Click on that. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. All you have to do in that channel is say hello, along with saying the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you actually watched the stream, and thus have earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server, and that you're not a bot. That's basically the other reason why I give out a secret word. I know it's sneaky like that. And today's secret word is collective. Just say hello, collective, and I'll know that you watched the show. And so with that, everyone, let's see what I want to say. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Oh, also, for reasons that I won't go into, but just because it's the general tempo of my day-to-day, I want to let my sister know that I love her very much. I would like to let my father know that I love him very much. And I'd like to let my mother know that I love her very much. And that's all I'll say about that. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or to the GoFundMe's pinned to the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. It is very much appreciated. Let's see. Leave a like on the way out if you would. Share out the stuff that you like, whether it's from me or somebody else, because you guys are the best algorithm. And if you do share out stuff from me, or my stuff, please be sure to tag me in your tweet, especially if you're using Twitter, because that's really the only social media platform I use, because I appreciate it when you share my stuff out, and I'd like to thank you personally when you do, so I can do that. Everyone, have a good rest of your Thursday. I'll see what show I might end up on for a watch party for the State of the Union. Enjoy the rest of your Friday when it happens, your weekend oncoming. I hope you're all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.